All right. Good morning, everyone. And for those on the recording, just a note that Odille had a last-minute meeting for today, and so I'm going to be getting us rolling and walking us through the session today. So let's start by everybody taking a deep breath, closing your eyes if you choose to, and get into the superpower state. However you normally do that. You can focus on your subject or your word or phrase. And just allow yourself to find that really good feeling. Noticing where that feeling is emanating or starting in your body. Where you feel that the strongest. And then imagine sending that feeling to the rest of your body. As you're breathing in, breathing out, imagining that feeling growing, sending it to the top of your head, down to the bottom of your feet, out to your fingertips. And if that feeling had a color, imagining that color and surrounding yourself in a ball of that shimmering color. And as you're breathing in, breathing out, sending that color, sending that feeling to every cell in your body, allowing that feeling, that color to circulate throughout your entire body. And now sending that feeling to everyone on the call today. Sending that feeling to all areas of your life, to all issues, allowing yourself to just be with that feeling. All right, very good. So you can open your eyes. And again, good morning. And we will go around and check in. Just a reminder for those joining as we started, Odille had a last-minute meeting, so I'm going to be running the session today. So Lisa, good morning. And I've got to remember to do the unmute or ask you to. There we go.
Yay. Yeah, I was even last night. Oh, thank good thoughts Thursday, by the way.
Yeah. I'm doing that right now.
I was even having the unconditional love in my sleep. I think that's really good because I was sending love wherever I was in my dream. I thought that was fascinating.
Yep. Go ahead.
Have
Go
you,
ahead. You finish that thought.
oh, have you done that too? Like,
Yeah.
have you found
Abs-
yourself doing that? That's so cool.
yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like that's one of those signs for me that I know that like it's your way of processing that it's becoming like more and more of who I am when I'm dreaming that, and I've had several dreams where I've woken up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this in my dreams now. So being in that place of sending love, and it's like, oh, you wake up and it's like, oh, I just did that in my dream. So yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. I wanted to read, this is the
Yep.
Superpower.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it is on page 95. And it's like, if you find yourself in a state of worry or anxiety often, I recommend practicing the self-love exercise throughout your day as much as possible. This is where you notice all the good stuff and recognize it as an expression of love from yourself to yourself, because you're the one who creates and attracts in your life. And use the phrase, look how much I love myself. Look how much I love myself. So that I love so much. So.
And what do you find is the most powerful bit for you there?
um, I okay, I love that you can stop and if you're feeling like, oh God, and then you go, oh, wait a minute, I can do this thing. So I have the power to change it anytime I want to. That's just so cool, because when we're brought up, we don't, we're told, oh, you have to do this, blah, 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 and then it's like, no. And then you're going, now that you're, have this, it's so much different. So it makes life so much easier. So it's supposed, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. And the having that reframe, I think that oftentimes we get into that place where um, we get into that place where those old belief systems, those old patterns kick in, that things get automatically overwhelming, or, we're in that state of things, that anxiety's kicking in. It's like normally we start feeling these things, and then the more we practice, the more that we're actively practicing that, no, look how much I love myself, or in the moment, no matter what's happening, if if I'm in that place of unconditional love, I can't I can't create anything bad for myself. It's either going to work out, it's either going to work out that there's nothing to worry about, or everything is going to just be fine. So the more we practice that, the quicker it is for us to shift out of those old habitual states and be able to shift into that reframe of like, nope, it's going to be okay. And being able to recognize that you're in control of what you're putting your focus on, as opposed to feeling like you're just out of control and that you're being drug around by whatever is happening. So I don't know if that's exactly where you're at with that, but that's what I'm hearing when you're saying that.
Yeah. Perfect. Since we've been sending love to my daughter, she's been making dream boards and going back to her spiritual stuff, and it's really good. So awesome. I noticed a shift in her in those just few days doing that. So it does add a distance. It really works because we're all one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it is. I think it is really powerful when you start doing that practice, without the expectation that something's going to change. When you're sending love to other people, that you're just being in that place of like, no matter what. I find that, the power in all of that is really just stepping back and noticing how things are changing. And it's like, there's like, wow, it just continues to amaze me. The continuing to do the practice, just how things continue to change. So it's always really empowering, encouraging, and I appreciate when people do share what they're noticing, what they're seeing in their lives. So thanks for sharing about your daughter, because it's helpful. So
Mhm. Thank you
great.
so much.
Thank you. All right. And we will go to Swasti. If I can find unmute. There we
Yeah.
go. Yay. And how are things today?
Yeah, I've been good. So I did the exam.
Yeah.
Although the score was only slightly above like last week's score and definitely below last year's score, it's not in the bottom 20%, which is really like which is good, which is what I need.
Okay. Okay.
So even though it's not amazing, I still know where I'm applying to and I feel more confident in that. And I don't know, but I feel the sense of relief that was not there before. So yeah, it turned out really well. And my parents were happy with it. Like they weren't like they reacted last week. Yeah, it was really, really good.
Well, good. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know that, before we went on session today, she's like, Odille was like, oh, please let Swasti know, that we're really proud of her.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's just thank you for your message as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just about the attitude. Like last year, if I got this score, I knew I would have been devastated. Even though, like last year, I got a better score, but I felt devastated despite that. This year it's lower, but I feel better about it. That's such a shift. So thank you so much.
Awesome. So, um, yeah, so I guess, any questions today, or where are you at with things right now?
Yeah, so well right now, like in terms of this work, I think it's going pretty well. It's going smoothly. And just realizing that it's always going to be good or nothing to worry about as long as you're in this state. And in terms of my application, next like my deadline's next week. And I'll just be working on the rest of the bits and bobs and just tying loose ends and then sending it off and then hoping for the best. But yeah, I'm gonna get like work in a hospital because now it's just really about keeping busy. I've got really nothing major that's gonna happen apart from the interviews. So I will try and sort that out this like
Great.
end of this week. Yeah, it's really
Great.
exciting. It's good that this exam is over.
Awesome. So I would, I'm going to take this moment right now to also remind people, or just to bring up the thought that we can practice the allowing technique with anything that is arising.
Mm-hmm.
So in this moment right now where you're feeling, I'm going to use the word good, but I want to qualify that. So you're enjoying the moment right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can just allow that feeling to be as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would say is, can you also allow that without, even though I used the word, I tried to shift to another word, but it's when we label good, when we put a judgment on the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes what we will end up doing, maybe even unconsciously, is we're trying to hold on to that moment. It's like, oh, it feels so good right now, I don't want to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can just be in that place of noticing it, allowing it to be there, enjoying the moment, but not putting that sense of judgment on it, so that we're then in a place of wrestling, trying to hold on to it. It's like, oh, I don't want this moment to go away.
Yeah,
Does
you
that
want to
make
be
sense?
empowered state. Yeah.
Yeah, because then we end up unconsciously creating that struggle with trying to hold on to a good moment as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been in that state actually today. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So it's like I've noticed that, like, with something as fleeting as like a sunset, you notice a beautiful sunset. It's like, oh, I don't want that moment to go away. It's like, oh no, it's fading.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a sunset. That's, it's just, can we just appreciate the moment? can we be with and enjoy the moment, as opposed to trying to struggle and hold on to that. So just a thought about, another nuance to practicing the allowing technique.
Yeah, so how do you actually do that? So just allow, just
So
allow.
it would be, hold on a second. I'm aware that I am, there we go. I've got to let some other folks in. So it is essentially the same thing. So can you be with the feeling right now? So notice the feeling of the enjoyment right now.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how your body is actually feeling that. Notice where those chemicals are, what those sensations are. And what I've discovered is that sometimes those feelings of enjoyment or excitement or happiness or whatever, they're similar to or not all that different from, how your body experiences, fear sometimes. There's some similarities.
Mm-hmm.
So just noticing how we're experiencing that feeling in your body and just allowing that to be there.
Okay.
So you're just, wow, can I just be with that? It's like, wow, this is how my body experiences that feeling. Okay. And then also be aware if there's that sense of attachment. It's like, oh, I don't want it to leave. Can you allow that feeling as well?
Yeah.
It's like just noticing whatever's going on about, and then perhaps there's a link there to something that's earlier. Is there something there from the past? So I know that this is kind of convoluted, and it's kind of the opposite of the way that
No,
we
it's making sense actually. Yeah.
normally approach things. But you can also look to those experiences from childhood where things have been taken away or things have, so it's looking, so it's kind of another approach at being able to find those references that may be creating that sense of grasping, trying to hold on to.
Yeah, I think my parents leaving might be one. Yeah, we come back to it again.
Yeah. So it's just another way of looking at the ways that we put judgment onto each and every moment. So if we can let go of the judgment and just allow what's ever there. So literally every moment can be that opportunity to a practice allowing whatever's happening in the moment.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so eye-opening. Yeah, because I can relate to this. I think this is why it made a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I can feel that attachment feeling, but I will allow it now. And then, yeah, see what comes up with parents leaving potentially.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, great. And, enjoy a weekend. No, it's not quite the weekend yet. I'm a little bit scattered right now. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday, just allowing whatever is coming up. And congratulations on your
Thank you.
your exam results. That's great. And I see a couple of questions in the chat. And let me just make sure. Questions, Steve, if there's time, I would like to add something to yesterday's session. Yay, Swasti. Yes, and Ilja, is it okay if it looks like you want to unmute? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have unmuted myself.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so in yesterday's session, remember I was talking about the restless feeling with my mom, and Odille walked me through the allowing technique and then giving my mom this ray of sunshine.
Yep.
As in mean to give to the little me to fix her.
Yep.
And I felt doubt. And then Odille reassured me like consciously. And then I felt when after the session, I was like, well, it still doesn't feel quite okay. And I had given this magical thing to my parents in previous memories to fix something, but it never felt quite right. And I had this doubt, well, will it really work? And then after the session, I was playing with it. Like, how can I make it work for me? And then I created this memory where the little me gave this ray of sunshine to the little mom.
Yeah.
So my mom as a little girl, and instantly the doubt went away, because consciously that makes sense also, because all the stuff that my mom is going through and is coming from the little her. And instantly it put a smile on the little me, and I felt like, yes, I know why it didn't work, because I gave it to the wrong person. I gave it to the adult one, and I should have given it to the little mom. And then everything happened in just split seconds, because I changed that happened. We were sitting on the kitchen floor. That's how I pictured it. And my mom instantly just called my dad and said, look what Ilja gave me. Like, so such a proud feeling, and this feeling of relief. Yes, now I finally got it. And the little me really felt like, now I fixed it. There was no doubt anymore. So yeah, I just wanted to add that, because the whole giving something to your parents to give this feeling of, oh, I fixed it. I love the idea, but sometimes you just need to tweak things a little bit so it will fit you, because everyone is unique, everyone's subconscious is unique, and you need to use all the techniques. And sometimes you just need to, just change something, even if it's just a small change, and then it will work for you. And that's what happened to me yesterday. I gave it to the wrong person, as in it was still my mom, but it had to be the little mom, and it made completely sense.
Yeah, that is so cool. And thanks so much for sharing that. It's just so powerful. And I think it's a great example of just how important it is to be doing that work in going back and changing what's there for our parents.
Then not only that, well, that's true, but also I was always someone who followed protocols, like steps, rules. Someone tells me how to do it and I will follow it. But with this work, you have all these techniques, and those are wonderful, but sometimes you just make it more personal to fit it to what is working for you. And I wanted to share it because it happened after the session, and I was like, okay, maybe someone can benefit as well, because just try to, if something isn't working, how can you make it more yours? So it does work. That's why I wanted to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the techniques, and thanks for that point too, because I know that is going to be common for a lot of people, that, they're really, we're so accustomed to, being taught, we need to follow the rules, and, that's going to be stronger for some people than it is for others. So the more that you can kind of see the techniques and everything that we're offering as guidelines, because the point that you're making is also really powerful, that everybody's subconscious, whatever's going on in your mind, is completely unique to everybody else, because of all the references, because of everything that's going on. What is happening in your mind is 100%, completely unique to everybody else. So you have to develop and use your most important, or the most powerful tool in your repertoire of tools to be using is your imagination. And the more that you can allow your imagination to be the one that's kind of guiding what's going on, things like this, it's like you discover that, and it's just like it becomes more empowering. It gives you more license to keep using that imagination, keep growing that imagination. So
and it is the imagination as well, but it was also because I was always, I've been brought up to listen and not really to trust myself. So it created a lot of struggles when certain things didn't work, like certain techniques, and I would just do it, and it didn't work, and the frustration was immense. And then I started doing something that to me was really scary and unfamiliar, and that was trusting what I need and then playing with the techniques. And that is why that's something I just wanted to share, because if someone is out there who is also struggling and think, well, I did it, but it didn't work, maybe you just need to just tweak a little bit and maybe then it will work for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, thanks again for sharing that. I think it's just a great example. And I know that a lot of I've had similar experiences personally where I've gone back, and so it feels like having the experience of being a parent, a real life parent, and parenting your own children. It's recognizing that we're going back and doing that for the little us, the little me. I'm going back and reparenting the little me, but then I've had that opportunity to go back and be there and be a parent for what I'm holding for my parents, that version of them as little children. So it's like, it is just really empowering it, or it just feels like, it's difficult to put words to, but that feeling of you really are caring for, you're able to love them, hold them in a completely different way in your mind.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You're kind of resonating
sense.
that. Yeah. So I would encourage, if others haven't given that a shot, to give that a try, to imagine going back. And I know that, we've done this work throughout these sessions where we talk about going back and imagining parents as small children and revising that story, but be in that place of seeing your role is now being parent or mentor for your parents, giving them the childhood, giving them the type of parenting that they should have had.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks again, Ilja. Anything else or any other questions?
No, yeah, well, I see not different questions in the chat as well, but if I'm okay, so I will share something else as well, because I believe it's on Tuesday, it was Sue who has this anger and frustration with the vacuum cleaner. And I was having trouble that day as well I just had this internal feeling of really feeling aggressive and the need to swear and curse and feeling angry. And I didn't want to do anything about it. I just wanted to feel it. And I felt it for hours. I felt horrible, but doesn't matter. But at one point I just said to myself, I give you permission to feel this way. And that was the same. It was a little bit different but still an allowing technique. I gave myself permission to feel that way. And I did it a little bit different because I imagined myself at different ages. And I told myself at different ages, just feel this way, be angry, be aggressive. And then physically I felt calmer because I felt more in my superpower state, but in my mind I could see myself at different ages completely angry and aggressive, and I saw my parents telling the younger me, it's okay, just feel this way. It was like a different way, but still an allowing technique.
Yes.
It calmed my body down, but in my mind I was allowed to feel this angry, this aggressiveness, and it felt good.
Awesome. And again, another awesome example of allowing that to happen. And I will share that I did something like this recently. It almost sounds like a similar kind of thing. It was like I woke up with that feeling that was there, and it wasn't anger, and I don't know what triggered it, and I'm not, and I don't think it really matters. It's just being aware that was what was there at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't know the cause as well, and I didn't search for it. I just spent time with it, and then I allowed it, but in a little different way.
And the one thing that I did with it was I sat down and started doing a do justice letter, or just allowing it. I put a pen in my hand, and it's like I don't know what this anger is about. And it was amazing. I just started writing. So just kind of channeling that anger in a way. So that could be another technique that people can use as well. Or giving voice to it. If you're in a place or in a situation where you feel like you can make some noise around it, or allow whatever words need to come out, allow that to have expression as well. But you're doing it, you're kind of doing it in a way where you're in that place of, when you're in that place of allowing, it's coming from that place of empowerment. I'm in a position of allowing this to happen, as opposed to feeling like you have no control in the situation. And that's when it feels like an emotion is taking you over, as opposed to the other way around. Did I say that right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And to me, it was like this happened naturally. And again, this is more like what do you need in the moment. And when I was able to step back and give myself permission to feel this way and created these images in my mind, it's also because oftentimes I'm not alone in this, I guess. We are not allowed to feel those emotions in the past. So when I give myself in the moment and all those younger versions of me, and I let my parents give my younger self the permission to feel that way, you're not only allowing, but you're also giving you sort of stepping stone references at the same time. Like, just feel that way, and it's okay, even if you never felt were allowed to feel that way. You now,
absolutely, because
it instantly calmed myself down. So yes. Yeah, that's what I wanted to add. And
well, thank you for that. And I think that it kind of also is a stepping stone to the other questions in the chat, and it seems like there's some other questions here regarding the allowing technique. So I'm gonna jump over to those.
Yes.
And give me just a second here, as I'm gonna just make sure that I'm not skipping over any of the other questions here. Question, can we go through the allowing technique really quick for those who don't know what it is? And I'm just going to read the next one, because I think that also is about the Steve, can we use the allowing technique on physical issues, and how? I often feel faint when I have a blood test done. I have to do one soon. I'm scared of fainting. So how would I use the allowing to help me? Should I use the technique before, during the blood test? Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Let me just make sure. Good. Okay. Yes. So the allowing technique. So yeah, I'm going to kind of answer both of those questions at the same time. So we can kind of talk about what the allowing technique is generally for those that may be new to it. The allowing technique is essentially just putting awareness to whatever is arising in the moment. So I know that we've started, you know, that the allowing technique kind of is something that we started using more with clients as when people were unable to find earlier childhood references. You know, it's like this feeling is there. It's kind of like what Ilja was just talking about. This feeling is there, but I don't know what that's connected to in childhood. And the point is, it really, you don't have to know what that connection point is in childhood. So the starting point is just allow the feeling to be there. So normally when we have those negative feelings, and in the question from the chat, you know, if it's a physical symptom, you can use the allowing technique for physical symptoms as well, or that nagging thought that keeps popping up. So if it's a thought, if it's a sensation, or if it's a feeling, or if it is a physical sensation, you can use the allowing technique literally with anything that is arising in your situation. And as I mentioned with Swasti a little bit earlier, It can be a pleasant situation. It can be a pleasant emotion that's coming up. Can you just allow yourself to be with whatever is arising in the moment? So in the case of the physical feelings around feeling faint, yep, and um, yesterday, the day before, I can't remember which, I was starting to notice that I was having some physical symptoms um, that very quickly kind of escalated into the what I remember from past experiences with it, of becoming an ear infection, or I had a very sore throat, kind of swollen glands, and it was like immediately kind of went back to that feeling of earlier in my life of having that swollen glands and going into an ear infection. I'm like, I had this thought in the back of my head. It's like, oh, well, there's another 10 days. It's like, my experience, I had them a lot as a kid, and I knew that this is something that, this is just going to take several days for this to go away. But I just put myself in that place of, you know what, I'm just going to allow myself to be with the sensation. So instead of going to the story of it, instead of judging it, can I put the judgment? It's like, oh, I don't really need this right now. I don't really want this. This is a bad thing. It's just recognizing the judgment that I'm putting on that and going to the place of, can I just be with the sensation of what's going on? Now, it's not a comfortable sensation. It's not something that is pleasant, but can I just be with the sensation of that? And what's amazing is that as I dropped into just allowing myself to be with the sensation, what's really going on with that feeling? Where's it at? And I could physically feel the sensation starting to not be as intense as it was before. So you can just allow yourself to be with whatever's there, because the negative neurochemicals that get flowing around that reason that we're trying to push it away is because we've got some kind of meaning. We've put a judgment on that feeling, and we're trying to struggle with it. We're trying to push it away. We're trying to ignore it. We're trying to deny it. And when we get into that place of struggling or fighting with it, we're creating those negative neurochemicals. So that feeling that you're feeling around being faint, just notice what's wrong with that feeling. What are you worried about with that? So knowing that whatever meaning whatever meaning is arising from that situation, we're putting on it. Because feeling faint doesn't have the ability to make us worried about it. I don't know if I'm saying that right or if that makes sense. It's the meaning that we're putting on something that's causing those negative neurochemicals. So if you can just start first by just allowing the sensation, being with the sensation, being aware of what's going on in your body, and that will help you to know and to be able to make more rational, more strategic decisions. So if we get rid of the negative neurochemicals that may cause a worry or a panic or something around a physical sensation, we can actually go, yeah, you know what, there's really nothing to worry about here. It's okay. If I feel a little faint, maybe I should be sitting down as opposed to standing up. So you're just being strategic about something as opposed to getting worried about it, or allowing yourself to cycle into panic. And if there's something that you should be doing, it will allow you to make the best logical decision about it, as opposed to getting panicked or worried about it. So starting in that place of allowing yourself to be with the sensation. So that's not to say that you shouldn't take appropriate action. It's just not getting wrapped up in the meaning, whatever meaning we're putting on the situation. So I hope that that was helpful to a certain degree. And let me just see if I can. Can you also send unconditional love to you painting when blood test? I'm not necessarily sure. Pre-pave? Pre-pave. Can
Steve,
you also?
Steve?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No, I added a comment to Carol that instead of with the allowing technique, I know she also she has the superpower state. So I said you can also send unconditional love to you. It's fainting, not painting. Fainting when you do a blood test and
Okay,
pre-pave that. So
I was like, oh boy, I'm really lost.
No. So she could pre-pave it, and then what's
Yes.
the worst thing about fainting while taking a blood test? What's the worst case scenario? And
Absolutely.
pre-pave that as well.
Absolutely. When you start with the allowing technique, you can begin. You can almost see that as a way of stepping into the zero tolerance part, that you're starting to bring down the negative neurochemicals, which then allows you to find what those earlier childhood references are to whatever's going in the situation. But definitely, you can definitely be pre-paving, about going into that situation, sending love to the situation, whether you feel faint or not. You can just be there with and sending love to everything, and care. And okay, great. Okay, so hopefully that helped. And Lisa, do you feel like that helped a little bit in terms of explaining the allowing technique a little bit more? Okay, good. So I know that I have a short slide presentation that I recently did on the allowing technique, and I'm putting that together to try to put up as another standalone video that will help explain that a little bit more. So I'm going to try to see if I can get that done over the weekend or within the next week, and try to get that up so that hopefully that'll be a little bit, add a little bit more detail to the allowing technique as well. Okay, let me just make sure that I've got this here. It's a balance of allowing the feelings and then letting it dissipate versus staying stuck in a negative feeling we don't enjoy. I think that comment is in regard to the allowing technique, but yep. And I think that when we start with the allowing technique, you're putting your focus on the physical, you're putting your focus on the feelings that are being created inside, and also becoming aware that the negative feelings that exist because of whatever we're experiencing in the body is really related to the story or the judgment or the meaning that we're putting on these physical feelings. So the body is always going to be leading the mind. So it may be happening in milliseconds, but the release or the experience of physical feelings, the physical feelings are there in the body, and within milliseconds, your subconscious is trying to make sense of what it's experiencing. So it's reaching back throughout your warehouse with of all your stored memories and trying to put some sort of a meaning to whatever it is that you're experiencing. So I think what the allowing technique is helping us do, is helping us to practice, is to distinguish between the feelings that exist in the body and the meaning that we're attaching to those feelings. So if you can Remind yourself that feelings only have feelings. The words that we're creating about these feelings are the story or the meaning that we're putting on it. So I don't want to make this too complex, but there's it's also distinguishing between the feelings that we're experiencing and emotions. Emotions are the words that we're putting to these feelings. So I'm feeling worried. Worried is a word that the conscious mind is using to describe a physical feeling that is going on inside. So I hope that that helps a little bit. And a lot of times what we do is we get focused on the words, worried, panicked, overwhelmed. And what the allowing technique is doing is just, we're allowing ourselves to be with the physical sensation and knowing that it doesn't have any meaning. Whatever meaning is existing is because we're attaching to that. We're attaching the meaning to it. So I hope that that helps a little bit. And let me see if there's any other. Good. So I think, unless there's any other questions, I think I've gone through the comments. And I'll also realize that I'm the one that is taking care of any specific targets, but if anybody has any of those, we're just gonna deal with those generally here today. So why don't we move toward the practice part of the session right now. And again, if you can just close your eyes, take a deep breath. And let's just begin by focusing on whatever feeling, whatever might be present or arising in your body right now, whatever that might be. Whether it's a pleasant feeling, a neutral feeling, a negative feeling, just allowing yourself to be with whatever's there. Notice how your body is experiencing that sensation. If it's a neutral feeling, just notice how your body is feeling or how it experiences that feeling. Where do you experience it in your body? Is there certain muscles associated? Is there warmth? Is there color? Is there texture? Just notice how you're experiencing it in your body. Notice if there's any judgment associated with that feeling. Does it feel like a good feeling or a bad feeling? Just remind yourself that whatever this sensation is, it's just a sensation. And now you can bring your focus or attention to your subject and allow yourself to step into that superpower state. We can allow the feelings to be there, we can allow the sensations to be there, and we can also step into our superpower state. Focusing in on what it is that you love or appreciate about your subject, or just finding that feeling in your body, noticing where it starts, where it's the strongest, allow it to grow. Sending that feeling to every cell in your body, allowing it to circulate, allowing it to overflow. Fill the space around you with that feeling. Seeing that feeling, or allowing that feeling to be a light, an energy, a color, filling the room around you. Think about one situation, one person, one issue in your life that feels like it needs that love, that light, that energy. And now imagine sending that love, that light, that energy to that situation, that person, that issue. Surrounding it, filling it, allowing that. Whether that issue, person, situation changes or not, continuing just to send that love, that feeling, that light. And now thinking about all the persons on this call today, all the people on this call. To all those people on screen, off screen, imagine surrounding each one of them with that love, that light, that energy, that color. And now sending that same love, that light, that energy to all those watching this recording. To whatever issues, whatever situations, filling that all with that love, that light, that energy, whether it changes or not. And now imagining the little you. And imagining your parents as small children as well. And filling them all, the little you, your parents, your ancestors as small children, filling them all with that love, that light, that energy, that color. Because that's just what was needed back then. More of all of that. And now imagine the you of a little later today, that near future you. And sending that love, that light, that energy to the near future you. Whatever situations, whatever issues, no matter what that is, love it anyway. Sending that love, that light, that energy. And now focusing in on your heart center. And imagining the expansion, feeling that feeling in your heart, allowing that surge to happen. Allow that surge to happen. Just surge that feeling out. Awesome. Okay, you can open your eyes. All right, everybody. And just checking the chat here. Great, good, good, good. Thank you. All right, yeah, great. Thank you. Good, good. I'm glad. It's always interesting when you have to pitch hit at the last minute. So, thanks everybody. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the session. I know Odille will be back with us again tomorrow. So, have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep practicing. And remember that each and every moment is another opportunity to allow. So just be with that and allow, and keep practicing that. And we will see you all tomorrow. So bye for now.